They called him happy in life. But only in death did he truly see the suffering around him. High above the city stood a magnificent statue called the Happy Prince. He was covered in thin leaves of gold. His eyes were bright blue sapphires, and a large red ruby shone on the hilt of his sword. When he was alive, the prince lived in a palace where sorrow was not allowed. But now, as a statue, he could see all the suffering in the city below, poor children, hungry families, and lonely people. One night, a little swallow stopped to rest at his feet while flying to Egypt. As the bird settled, a single tear fell from the prince's shining sapphire eye. Looking up, he saw that the happy prince was crying. From his high place, the prince saw a poor mother beside her sick child. "I am no longer happy," he whispered. "Swallow," said the prince softly, "take the ruby from my sword and give it to her." Through the dark sky, the swallow carried the glowing ruby over rooftops and sleeping streets. Soon the small room filled with hope, and the child slept peacefully beside his mother. The next evening, the prince saw a young writer in a tiny attic. He was trying to finish a play but had no fire to keep him warm. "Take one of my sapphire eyes," said the prince, "and give it to him." The swallow hesitated, but he obeyed. He carried the sapphire to the young man, who found it and cried with joy. Winter winds began to blow, and snow fell gently as the prince stood with one eye missing. Soon after, the prince saw a little match girl standing in the cold. Her matches had fallen into the gutter, and she feared her father's anger. "Take my other eye," the prince whispered. Now the swallow was sad, for the prince would be blind. But he took the second sapphire and gave it to the little girl. She ran home smiling. Now the prince could not see. The swallow said, "You are blind now, so I will stay with you always." Winter came. Snow covered the city. The swallow grew colder and weaker, but each day he plucked a piece of gold from the prince's body and gave it to the poor. Slowly, the prince lost all his beauty.
Now the prince stood dull and grey, unable to see the city he loved so deeply. Though winter grew harsh, the swallow refused to leave the blind prince alone. "I will stay with you always," the swallow said, resting gently against the cold statue. One bitter morning, the little swallow lay still in the snow at the prince's feet. The next day, the townspeople saw that the statue was no longer beautiful. They said, "He is no longer beautiful," and ordered the dull statue pulled down. At that moment, a crack split the prince's leaden heart hidden inside his golden chest. They pulled down the statue and melted it in a furnace. But the broken heart would not melt. It was thrown away on a dust heap, where the dead swallow lay. High above, God looked down upon the city and said, "Bring me the two most precious things in the city." And the angels brought him the leaden heart, and the little dead bird. "You have chosen rightly," said God. "For in my garden of paradise, this little bird shall sing forever, and in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise me." And in eternal light, the prince and the swallow were together once more.